Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Uh, so back to where we were yesterday. Page 1460. Having discussed the samsara karana, the cause of samsara, in the 13th verse, Krishna starts discussing the solution, as we know. Is that recap of Swamiji? What is the remedy? The problem we have identified. What is the problem? The problem is trying to find freedom and happiness in aparaprakriti rather than in paraprakriti, rather than in God, So Ishwara Pratihi, Ishwara Bhakti is the solution. Devotion is the solution. The problem is materialism in simple language, trying to get true happiness, permanent satisfaction, peace by gaining things of the Maya meteor world. Not naturally, the next question will be about what is bhakti, and then we have seen Swami unfolding the verse in which Krishna Guru explains a little bit the different levels of bhakti. We have seen as well that some people do not come with any whatsoever inclination towards loving God because they do not come with spiritual punya. They come with at the most with more material tendencies, First, Krishna pointed out that many people do not turn to devotion. They are not inclined towards devotion because they don't have that vasana, spiritual vasana, devotional vasana. And therefore, they remove nastikas. They do not believe. They remove nastikas. They do not believe in God. What is it they remove nastikas?
Well, nastikas means atheists, but I don't know about
Why to remove nastikas?
Good question. I don't know.
I get devotion. I don't know, because you cannot begin to develop devotion if you have if you are atheist, They do not turn to devotion because they do not have enough punya, and devotion will remove slowly materialism, atheism. But they don't believe in God. They turn away and so on. So blessed are the people who somehow understood that there is something which is the true source of peace and satisfaction and security. And that something, that principle, is God the Creator in its true nature, Nirguna Atma. At the beginning, they do not know exactly what God is. Therefore, until we get to understand Nirguna God, we temporarily use some. Well, haven't we gone already through this paragraph?
Yeah.
I think I made a mistake again.
Yeah, we did, because we went through the mathematics example. Yeah.
Okay, but it's very close to where we stopped.
Yeah.
Okay, you have seen that, and then he gave the example of the mathematics. Therefore, we have those symbols of God. Ishta Devata is the most common. When we get into Vedanta, we get into the subtle elements that can not only serve as an object of upasana, but may serve to expand our mind. The mind needs to expand and refine when the object of upasana is very subtle and profound, such as let's meditate on Akasha, space, as God, the most fundamental primordial element of creation. So let's bring the mind to space, knowing that it's God, because if I keep my mind in space, knowing that it's a symbol of God, so I'm good to go because I'm in contact with space all the time. I live within space. In other words, I live within God, So the disciples, the devotees, in Vedanta, disciples are devotees. We have to remember that. Students are devotees. It says that there are the ones that only think of the Lord in times of crisis. And then there is the story of this guy, Kunti, that say, oh God, please give me Christ again and again, because when I'm in Christ, I just run to you, and I love that,
Yeah, very nice.
This is the Artha Bhakti. We can also call it the crisis bhakta, when they experience suffering, pain. Generally, people turn to God only when they are suffering. And then Swami makes a parallel with children that sometimes when they're in trouble, they also think of God. Nothing wrong with any of that. In the societies nowadays, religious people are said to be judged to be backward people, unsophisticated people, weak people, stupid people. Everybody who is in God, into God, God is the opium of the people. God is just a concept for stupid people, and so on. But it's better to go to God when you're in Christ than keep suffering and rejecting God. So there we find the large majority of people, crisis bhakta. We go to any temple and you find petitions. Petitions are there because we generally see Artha Bhakti prevalent. Many people think that Bhakti is only for weak people. What is this deal of petition here that I did not understand quite clearly?
I think what he's trying to say is that we ask God for something, or ask God to remove something. Petition to get rid
Petition is, okay, let's get together to ask something.
To get rid of something.
Or to get rid of something.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, this Artha Bhakti, the one who wants to have favorable Prabhupada, gets promoted to Artharti Bhakti. He wants God not only for providing him with security and satisfaction, but he wants God because he understood that by this relationship he will grow spiritually. Spiritual progress or development of the qualities, or preparedness for what? For self-inquiry and self-knowledge. They are called Artharti. So, no, I'm sorry. The progress in life here means to say they want prosperity, okay? They want prosperity. The third type is the Kaliyuga that is present here as jñana bhakta. The Kaliyuga, he does not care that much for success, but he mostly cares for the spiritual progress. The Lord himself is the end, but as I said yesterday, to some extent. Oh Lord, I don't ask anything. I'm just thankful and grateful. By the way, I love you so much. And I learned that this love I feel for you without any request is going to be conducive to my purification and refinement, and so that I can get self-knowledge. He used the Lord not for gaining these personal favors from God, but for spiritual development. Lord is not a means, but Lord is an end. But as I said, it's an end. But for Karma Yogi, Lord is a means as well for the end, which is qualification, development of certain mental, emotional qualifications for self-inquiry and self-knowledge. And then the last is presented as the jnani, to whom God is no longer means, not an end. So why? Because the jnani has found or has realized that which was the goal of the entire process of the spiritual journey of the soul ends with self-knowledge to a certain degree. When you find something that you were searching for your entire life, you stop searching. And the bhakti, the devotion change, okay? But not necessarily the jnani is really enjoying the fruits, largely enjoying the fruits of this self-knowledge. So he's not a seeker anymore. And he's grateful, and he lives his life naturally, observing Dharma. God is no longer means to gain anything, because the purpose was gain self. No, but the jnani, he may, do anything to get more purification, So, and then someone like James said, who cares about purification? I have so many things that I want to enjoy in this life. I'm going to spend time trying to purify. I'm not my impurities. But the jnani does not really care that much, but the jnani is observing that, keeping with Dharma and keeping with this relationship with Saguna, Nirguna, Brahman, further purifies the body, mind, sense. Further dissolves the sense, I am the doer, I'm enjoyer, I, mine. I mean, I say these things, and you guys probably noticed. I say this from my direct experience, knowledge/experience, because when I was searching some of my videos, as I was looking for the videos to copy on your pin drive, and I saw some videos of myself 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And when I look at that guy giving satsang, I say, oh my God, without doing any sadhana, I have gone such a way in terms of purification or dissolution of this ego, You don't feel, you don't do anything. You just stay with the scripture, and somehow you grow, you continue growing. Not your consciousness grows, no, you grow in purification, you understand?
Yeah.
You grow into no longer feeling and acting as, from the standpoint of pride and vanity or any of that. The jnani has to grow into true, genuine humility if he's to really enjoy the fruits of self-knowledge. So for the jnani, God is not means, nor an end. God is the self, Nirguna Atma, the true nature of the traveler. The seeker understands its identical nature with Nirguna Atma, with Nirguna Brahman. So what he was searching for is his very intrinsic nature, is identical with the thought. So it's very beautifully put. And it is a fact. But I like to highlight the fact that to a certain extent, self-recognition, self-knowledge is the beginning of a process, more accelerated process of spiritual purification, spiritual elevation. Do you agree, Lee?
Yeah, I do. It seems that Swami Paramarthananda also always talks about his nididhyasana. So it's for the jiva aspect of the yani that continues.
And which way he talks about his nididhyasana?
Oh, he talks about how teaching
Yeah.
is the best nididhyasana, which
Yeah,
he continues, of course, always.
totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, it's one of the best sadhanas. And a lot of people they want to teach because they believe that it gives them a status of a guru or this and that, you know, people are going to look up to you. But the beauty of sharing this knowledge is that it's the best possible sadhana. It's the sadhana of the yoni that somehow was put in a position of sharing this knowledge. You understand? And it is a blessing to have this opportunity. It is really such a grace. And it is the best possible sadhana, and Dayananda used to say that. But that does not mean we have to go around making advertisement, come, I will teach you. It's just a question of waiting to see, because as you know, in the beginning, what's going on here? Okay. As there is something, both of my laptops are a little bit giving me trouble, huh?
Yeah.
So I have to take them to the hospital. So what was saying? Oh, Dayananda used to also talk about that. And I was saying, it does not mean that we need to make advertisement as I was doing 12 years ago. You just have to wait and see if Ishvara wants you to share this knowledge or not. And then if you don't have the opportunity to associate with this knowledge after you recognize your true nature directly, it's recommended that you stay in contact with the scripture, you know, because it's the best music, it's the best entertainment, or, you know, and it's better to stay with the same sampradaya. I was having this conversation with Mark, not to go from this guru and that guru, they are all Vedanta. So stay with one. Now, Mark is leaving from here. He has enough Swami Paramarthananda's audios for how many lifetimes, you said?
At least 3, I reckon.
3 lifetimes.
At least.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Now, Krishna has presented these 4 stages of bhaktas, types of bhaktas. We can read the very same verse from another angle, the same very verse for another, not as 4. You see? What happened to it?
Oh, we lost it again.
No, it was saying your memory is full, your acrobat is full, and now my text became without words, appears. Let me close some of this here.
Johnny uses telephone, he's got the text.
Let me see here.
You use this for the text, darling, there.
Let me restart this one here. Okay, now I think it came back. What's the page?
Page is 1462.
Okay,
At the very top.
very top.
Yeah.
No, that we have done. 1462. Maybe I'm on another. Okay, and because when I make notes and this and that, it changed the page. I added some things to it. Because Swamiji repeats himself so often that you think that, no, this we have seen already, you know? Okay, yeah, it's 62, you're right. Initially, one must start from wherever we are. Now, we want to be a devotee of the Lord because I want to have security and I want to avoid insecurity. I want pleasures and I want to avoid pain. Lord is the means, and these material ends are goals. This is the other angle that he was saying. Huh? Is that so?
He's saying,
Yeah, that's another angle. Yeah. So then once I use the Lord and bhakti for material ends, after some time I become more mature. I become aware that the limitation of accomplished objects of desires in media, in the world, you know, you become, this is maturity. Nothing is going to really give me fulfillment or security and satisfaction. Nothing of this world. You know? And then one becomes what? Spiritual. And then we're going to see here that you can become spiritual, but you can still be a spiritual samsara. You know? You want things of the subtle world. So with maturity, I turn my back towards this mundane physical accomplishments such as fame, prestige, money, properties, and even objective knowledge. You know, I'm a great philosopher and so on. And but I start growing, and I'm no more Sakama Bhakta. I become an Niskama Bhakta, which is a different angle now. My goal is God, and as a Niskama, it's not about me, but it's about serving God. This is my own evolution in this ladder of devotion. And then he says the jñana Bhakta is the most wise one. It's really much better informed. He's well informed to a great extent. For him, for her, it's very clear. A few factors are clear. The first thing is for him or her, one thing that God alone can give me security and happiness. So this is very clear. How can you get security and happiness on things that are changed 24/7 and disappear at a certain point? How can you feel secure? You know? And that goes for our physical body to begin with. The second factor of this more mature devotee is how I'm going to accomplish this devotion towards God that really gives me security and peace and satisfaction. How I'm going to do that, you know? And people are saying, oh, you just keep doing puja. No. You keep doing mantras. No. You keep doing this, doing that. They say, no. You're going to accomplish that by being a very, very evolved, sophisticated karma yogi. You know? Accomplish God is not something accomplishing things in the world, such as success in the world. It's not something that can be gained in a linear term in time. Accomplishing God means understanding God. Understand God to the final extent that understanding nirguna God, the all-pervading conscious existence. And for that, I do not need to travel or do anything to accomplish this all-pervading God, the intrinsic nature of everything. Previously, I saw God is an entity in a loka, but later on, I developed enough knowledge, understanding of God to know that He is omnipresent, omniscient. So I stopped trying to reach God as if in a linear time, but as a means, by the means of knowledge contemplation. Okay, therefore, Ishvara Prapiti is equal to Ishvara Jnana. So the thing about how I'm going to resolve my mind in Saguna Ishvara, leave alone the all-pervasive Nirguna Ishvara. So I'm going to resolve my mind there only to the extent that I love it so much, that my mind is pacified. But Vedanta says, but that is not enough. You need to understand that love is going to create the environment of, appreciation, love, devotion, on which you can further understand the nature of God. You understand? You need to understand the nature of God, because finally enough, to resolve the mind in God is possible only by the means of jnana. In the beginning, I want God. Now I say, what? I want to know God. And I love God because I know God. If you don't know God, you cannot really say, I love God. But strangely enough, in the beginning, some people have this love for God, this devotion, these tears, this, oh, God, 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 without understanding really God. But that's okay. This sentimental, emotional devotion towards God is okay. But it's more, it's kind of preliminary stage. Later on, you want to understand God, and then your love appreciation is more like, wow, oh, wow. Thank you, Lord. Previously, as I said, I want God. Now I know God. I understand God to a certain degree. My desire to love God was converting the desire to get as much knowledge, understanding possible about the true nature, the saguna nirguna nature of God. So another important point here is that this jijnasu bhakta is a very evolved bhakta. And why it's a very evolved bhakta? Because it's a karma yogi. Karma yoga is a very, very advanced sadhana or stage in one's development. All these steps, remember, he knows I want God alone, not as a means to an end. Then he knows I want to know everything about God only. Then he also knows that Ishvara jnana is possible only if I have a purified mind. So this is Antima jnana is possible only if I have a purified mind. And Antima jnana is possible if you are purified by the means of devotion, but highly advanced devotion, the devotion of the karma yogi, that understand the nature of God as this darshana of God, as the material cause, the intelligent cause, as the universe manifests, as the intelligence supporting everything, see God behind everything, and then this allows a lot of purification or refinement. You understand? The development. We have to understand the mind it does not have only its cognitive process aspect, The mind has a certain emotional aspect to it. Every thought has a feel to it, Every thought has a feel to it. So you can study everything in the books about Saguna, Nirguna, Brahman, but you will never develop this deep appreciation for the Lord because you approaching it on an academic level. So the purification is possible only when the emotional center of the subtle body is purified. So James used to put it in terms like you have to purify all the functions of the subtle body so that you have it. He used to put it geometrically balanced, So not having, my intellect is like that. So, and how about your emotional response? I'm the most ignorant person, I just kick my dog and my cat every time I'm upset. And this relationship producing devotion is going to purify the subtle body like nothing else. Swami puts it again and again, presents the fact that the Vedantic process involves devotion. Devotion is not a sadhana by itself, but it's an attitude of profound appreciation, love, and reverence to the Creator that requires a very sophisticated mind capable to intellectually grasp how incredible the Creator is. We don't have the intellect to really totally understand how it's all possible, this order, this apparent order reality. We don't understand what is the real purpose, but we can make some inference here and there. And but doesn't matter. Remains the fact that we appear here, we experience this world, and we want to live peacefully, and we assess that the world cannot bind us, time cannot destroy us. And that's only possible by self-knowledge. And self-knowledge begins with the knowledge of Saguneshwar and the development of this sentiment of devotion and appreciation and reverence. So I get that by the means of knowledge, and by the means of knowledge, I will develop devotion. And this devotion will allow mental purification. Mental purification will allow for self-knowledge and moksha. Therefore, I approach God for the purpose of I want to know everything about you. When we know someone, human beings, usually we love other people when we are intoxicated by someone, And then when we love someone, we immediately want to know everything about that someone. And that someone does not want to disappoint us and goes into the files of the good things about myself and let it out a little bit. And then we are further deluded until things start popping up. So I want to know God, and I have no problem because I know that God is the only source of good, of auspiciousness, of love, compassion, purity, and knowledge, intelligent cause of this universe. So this Jijinasu Bhakta continues to be a religious person, but he is a very, very refined religious person because he's doing that just because I want to grow. I want to love God more purely. I want to purify, and I want to find later on the true nature of this Saguna God. So what is the conversion? This is very nicely put. Conversion is a conversion from a mere religious person into a spiritually religious person. What is this spiritual? spiritual person, you know. Spirituality means I'm searching for the true nature. The true nature is the nirguna spirit. The spirit is the essence of Saguna Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagata. So the moment that I go beyond, this attachment to names and forms of God, I become a Kami Yogi. Then I start seeing that, okay, I want to understand the true nature of this Saguna God. I don't want to depend on Saguna God as well. I want to be free and independent, because if I depend on Saguna God, I'm going to develop so much punya. But the scriptures have present to me the notion that punya is going to be exhausted and you have to come back later on to produce more punya. I want to be free. Somehow, I heard that somehow we not necessarily need to come back infinitely, eternally, to this duality. So I want to know the spirit of all things, the spirit of Shvara, Jiva, Jagata. For that, one requires tremendous purity of mind. What is the difference between a religious person and a spiritual person? A doubt may come because we have two types of religious person. The religious person that wants materialist gains, and the religious person who wants punya, spiritual punya. But those are still only religious persons, These two people are religious, all right, but they are materialistic. How so? No, one wants materialist things of the physical material, the avaharika, and some want, things from the celestial locus, They want just celestial punya. Some for the materialistic gains and others for religious gains. But then the Kami Yogi comes, the Vedantic Kami Yogi comes and says, okay, I don't want punya, I don't want fame, money, prestige, and so on. I heard that I can get enough purity, refinement, so that I can get out of this game. So I just want to be a Kami Yogi for the sake of developing all the qualifications for me to go into self-inquiry and self-knowledge. But the Kami Yogi, at the beginning, he knows that her goal is purity of mind. Therefore, here it still presents as the religious person who does pujas and namaskaras and so on, visits temples. But ultimately, especially us from the Western world, we don't have that lifestyle with pujas and this and that. Purity is meant for what? Purity is meant for self-inquiry. The final attainment of God is meant for what? For realize my Purnatva nature, the only source of security and peace. Therefore, this jñana bhakta is, in fact, a Kami Yogi. It's a spiritually religious, highly developed person. Kami Yogi is a spiritually religious person, whereas Karmi is one who is materialistic religious person. And this materialistic religious person, he may want things of this world, such as prosperity, material prosperity, but he may want things from like, oh, I want to go to the fifth dimension, I want to do this, that loka, that loka. This is all religious materialism, okay? This is very important because in Vedanta, we have to keep our goals very clear. We do what we do either to get self-knowledge or to get the qualifications required for self-knowledge. So we don't want to lose that perspective. We don't want to become a Karma Yogi forever. And we're doing that. Why? Because I want to develop all the qualifications to get the knowledge and go beyond Punya Papa. Therefore, Jijinatsu, or this Karma Yogi, got purity of mind, and later he becomes a Jnana Yogi. Jnana Yogi, he wants what? Jnanam. And what kind of jnana? Is no longer about Saguna Ishvara, but it's about Nirguna Brahman. Therefore, Karma Yogi is a Bhakti Yogi. Your Bhakti Yogi becomes a Jnana Yogi in due time, for as long as he does not lose that perspective. I'm not doing that because this is the end. Qualification is not the end, it's a means for self-knowledge and moksha, because as we know, there is no such a thing as 100% qualification. There's no such a thing as 100% purity. Okay, there is always some impurity there. You have to just get some purity, some refinement to a certain extent so that you can get self-knowledge and realize your free nature. So, and this bhakti, this Karma Yogi is a religious person. This is the third stage. It's a long course. It's a long travel, he says. You know, we'll begin like at the beginning, and nobody should feel like, oh my God, no, I should be already on the last stage of devotion. No, we need to be honest, realistic, and have no hurry, you know. Time is just another illusion. After purification, the person will go through Jnana Yoga, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. And then what is the Jnana Yoga? The study of the scriptures. For what person? For gaining Nirguna Atma. Okay? Ishvara Jnana means to say Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Ishvara, Nirguna Brahman Atma. And that also is elaborate life. Elaborate life, what he's trying to say. That also takes some effort and patience. Study of the scriptures begin with Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. And there is a saying in Vedanta that is 5 years with Shravana, 10 years with Manana, 15 years with Nididhyasana. This is an exaggeration, of course. But it's also that we cannot go for shortcuts. You know? So therefore, the devotee has to travel a long way until he becomes what? A jnani bhakta. Having successfully completed Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, this bhakta gets converted in jnani bhakta. He has discovered the Lord. And what is the discovery? The Lord is nowhere but everywhere, never away from anything or anybody. Never away from me, furthermore. Therefore, since the Lord is never away, Dvaita Bhakti is the Jnani Bhakti. There is no separation, division between the Lord, which is Nirguna Atma, and myself in my true Atma nature. So this Bhakti gets converted in Advaita Bhakti. He understands that I'm never away from Brahman. Brahman is never away from me. Thus, Artha, Bhakti, Atarti, Bhakti, Jnani Bhakti, these four can be understood as the 4 levels of Bhakti. You want just security. You want to love God just as an end for itself. And then you want to know God rather than love God. And then furthermore, you understood that God is everything's intrinsic nature. Therefore, God is the creator. And the creation is nothing but a superimposition upon the nirguna atma, my true nature. These four can be understood at these four levels of devotion, because it's a little bit more subtle and difficult to consider and to contemplate the idea of non-dual or Advaita bhakti, you know? How can you be devoted to something that's not in duality? You know, it's the intrinsic nature of everything, you know? Why not? You know, why not?
Yeah.
No, and then you are narcissist, you know, you are just say, now I'm devotee of myself.
Well, you can start seeing everything as God as well.
Well, and that's why
Yeah.
I have been more and more careful with this thing, with this concept. You know, I myself am Brahman and this and that, you know. So it is just cognitive understanding that allows someone not only see the intelligent holding the universe in place, but see the conscious existence behind this sattva guna, you know, which is the true nature of Ishvara as the efficient cause, intelligent cause. You see that everything resolves into this efficient cause, which is Saguna Ishvara. Furthermore, everything resolves into Satchitananda Brahman. And we have to be careful to say, furthermore, everything resolves in I, myself, okay? Of course, claiming is an invitation to include the I, but the way we include the I has to be taken very carefully. Okay? Because it's better to look at everything resolves into Brahman, because Brahman is the only reality. And since Brahman, the Atma, is one without a second, it is just consciousness. So I cannot find a way, a logical way that I could exclude myself from that. You know? How can I exclude myself from that? It's not that everything is within me. Everything is within Satchitananda Brahman. And if Brahman is the only reality, that must be my true nature.
Yeah.
You know? That is the way to resolve oneself, definitely in Satchitananda Brahman, the only reality, which has to be understood carefully. Rightly?
Yeah, I think often about Swami Paramarthananda's description of this temporary costume, you know, that we put on, and that all that is that mind body sense complex is within myself.
Yeah, right. And Swami often says that once you understand these teachings and you begin the process of claiming, which is fundamental, understand that when you claim to be Satchitananda Brahman, you should never carry the attributes of the body-mind with you. Otherwise, you are superimposing the gunas, and then it means your ego is being superimposed on that, which is the only reality. You understand? So to claim I am the Satchitananda Brahman, and there is nothing about me except Nirguna Atma. I don't have qualities, properties, attributes. There is nothing special to Satchitananda Brahman. There is nothing specific. No, there are no characteristics or qualities or defects. So keeping that perspective prevents us from carrying our vanity into just claiming, you understand? And transfer any feeling of I have made it, okay? And now I got it.
Yeah, that. Oh, I was going to say that the understanding that the mind body sense complex is within myself in the same way that the chair is. and you know, the mountains outside and so forth. It's just
everything is within it.
on that. Yeah. Yeah.
And when we say it's within me, everything rests in me, in me, in me. Again, you know, we have to be very clear that there is nothing about the attributes of the mind in this me. Me is the adhistanam, the substratum, free from any qualities or attributes. This me. There's nothing special about this me. You understand? Only the Jiva can develop notions of being special or being greater or being enlightened. Since everybody has to go through these 4 levels, we need not to feel bad if we are beginning with Artha Bhakta. Some people say, oh, Swamiji, I'm a Gita student for so many years, so what stage I am? And then some say, who knows? I mean, you tell me, you know, and why to classify yourself? Just get into the program, you know, and don't try to classify yourself to develop a complex of being higher or inferior. This is very much in our minds, human mind, you know. So just enjoy the process. There's nothing better to do in life. I have some good student that often comes with this. Oh, why should I be a Kaliyuga now that I know I am Brahman, you know? And this, you know, and it's very, very subtle. And sometimes the teacher has to expose the superimposition of the vanity of the ego on those claimings, you know. And I have to be very creative to show evidence that the person is tripping, you understand? Knowing a little bit about the person, just see, so if, you know, if you're living like this and like that, and then your claim is pure, but chances are that, you know, it's not a pure claiming. Swami says that, therefore, become a karma yogi, be a devotee of the Lord on that level. The scriptures are very generous in the sense that I allow whatsoever stage of devotion, but the main thing is begin this relationship with God yesterday. So the process, how long it will take, many births maybe, who cares? Sometimes in one birth you can go through everything and get self-knowledge. Who knows? I mean, we don't know anything. Only the Supreme Intelligence knows. Yeah. Just keep moving to the best of one's possibility. Verse 17, among all these devotees, howsoever we classify them, the wise who is ever steadfast and who has undivided devotion is the superior. For I am very dear to the wise. So the wise is the one that loves God the most, but not in a sentimental way, but it's the highest level of devotion. So it understands God as the only reality, understands Saguna God as the supreme intelligence, and somehow does not lose that darshana, that perspective of vision, knowledge. And then Krishna says, I know that I am very dear, the most, I mean, those are the ones that hold me so dear in their hearts, you know. I'm very dear to them. And they are very dear to me too, that, you know, has to be somehow not challenged. In which way Saguna Brahman, which is absolutely personal, could say, oh, I love this person more, this person is more dear, so this is more like I don't take it literally, but on the other way around, yes. So the yoni is the one who has the purest form of love or devotion towards God to the extent of accepting anything, anything with full confidence in Saguna. Ishwara, because Nirguna God, Brahman, Brahman is there just offering the background, the substrate on which Saguna Ishwara plays with the gunas to create this entire play. So this devotion ultimately is a devotion towards Saguna Ishwara, you understand? But we understanding that Saguna Ishwara, even though appears as duality, there is something behind Saguna Ishwara, which is my very intrinsic nature, the nature of everything, But ultimately, this devotion has to be channelized towards Saguna Ishwara. That's my take. We understand that the true nature of Saguna Ishwara is Nirguna.
Yeah.
And Nirguna is the nature of everything, including myself, because I don't want to be special anymore. I want to exclude myself and say everything is Brahman, but not me. I am a great enlightened being, and I stay in Mitya, and I want to be a famous guru. Krishna has talked about 4 types of devotion. And then he said, the moment that scripture presents different classifications, the mind begins compare and feeling higher or inferior. Comparison is something very, very, very human. And this is something, again, I have to tell you guys, there was nobody more inclined to compare and find oneself inferior than myself when I was a young adolescent and young man. So comparison is something so intrinsic in the human mind due to the structure of society, competition, comparison, and so on. And you guys have to believe in me that with self-knowledge and this consolidation, let's say, of self-knowledge to the extent that the mind is purified, there is never not an inch of thought that compares this body-mind with that body-mind with that body-mind, There is such a clear understanding that these body-minds all belong to Ishwara, and everything resolves into Nirguna Brahman, So don't think that comparison is something that stays forever with us. We need to transcend this human nature. Human nature is our ignorant nature. Who is the greatest of all bhaktas? Who is the highest? Now Krishna says among the 4 types, the yoni is the highest. He excels all the others, therefore I love him the most. This is also, I have to be careful with this notion, I mean, the Lord, Saguna Lord, he does not have any preference. He's just a system. You understand? And we have to appreciate the system. The system does not need to appreciate us. We appreciate the system because the system, with this supreme intelligence, provides us with an incredible experience. No, I would prefer not to exist. Okay. You can check out any moment, just cut your, So we have to appreciate the Lord for the opportunity. And everybody has this love to be, love to exist, built into each one of our body mind. So we have to learn to appreciate the Creator. The Creator is not there to appreciate and love us. But here and there we see that, yes, Krishna say yes. So if you if you conform to my Dharma, I will bless you or grace you with punya, But Ishwara is not doing anything. Oh, Ishwara is happy if we conform with Dharma, Yeah, is that the case really? I doubt. It is better for humanity if there is a certain degree of equilibrium between Dharma and Adharmic people. But any dual manifestation implies the opposite pairs, complementary pairs, such as Dharma and Adharma, love and hate. It's unavoidable.
Yeah,
it's unavoidable. So Ishvara is going to love the ones that support Dharma and hate the ones that violate Dharma. I doubt. So we are the ones that have to learn to appreciate Dharma as the laws and principles of this intelligent supreme principle that sustains this cosmos. So who is the highest? The most purified body-mind is the highest, and the most purified is usually the yoni. To come to jnana requires a lot of purification and qualifications. And to come to moksha, which is a concept that only Ishvara knows if somebody was musked in this lifetime. One got moksha, I mean, what is moksha? Moksha is, a process involving more and more refinement and purification, or in other words, we somehow exalt more our divine nature as wisdom, as consciousness, manifests as wisdom. Wisdom of what? Wisdom of love, of Dharma. And so who am I to say I got moksha? Who is anyone to say I got moksha? Only Ishvara knows if you have to bring you back for another round or not. So, but we can sense that I am growing spiritually. I become more and more pure, more and more peaceful, and that much is at our reach. And as I said before, after self-recognition, it becomes more and more effortless. But a little bit of vigilance and discipline is always important, because Maya is strict and ignorance is hardwired. The Swami says this verse removes many misconceptions, and it's about the 4 levels of bhakti. The first misconception is what? People think that I follow bhakti yoga without coming to jnana. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. They say jnana is not bhakti. Bhakti is just love, devotion, sentimental devotion and love for God. That it's better that there is no mind or intellect involved. It's just the heart, pouring sentimental love. He said this is the first misconception. People criticize jnana, saying that it's going to obfuscate my love, my sentimental love. And furthermore, some people say here and there, maybe in some of these yoga shastras, that in Kaliyuga, jnana yoga is better to avoid, it's not possible. For what reason? Because, I don't know, my take is they say that because in Kaliyuga, the Dharma was so profoundly compromised, that there are a lot of wars, conflicts, and society breaking down, and then you don't find the environment to go into a sadhana which is requires more and more contemplation, such as jnana yoga. And then it's better just to accept everything as it is and say, okay, Lord, I'm a good devotee, I am a kami yogi. So if there is war now around my town, just so be it, you know. So it's better to be a kami yogi. But here Swami say, this is a misconception as well. So if you are qualified, doesn't matter Kaliyuga or what yuga, you know, jnana yoga is the only means by which you resolve your mind. And jnana yoga allows for bhakti, for devotion. Krishna is in this verse, which says, among all of them, the jnana yogi, you know, is the superior of my devotees, you know. So he is here to debunk that notion, saying that bhakti yoga, you have to automatically come to jnana yoga. So bhakti yoga cannot escape jnana. Bhakti yoga cannot escape from jnana. He has to come to jnana from different levels of dualistic devotion. Initially, one confines to kami yoga, but having attained a certain degree of purity, you need to go into Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. And here, there is something important to remember. When we say that in our tradition, kami yoga is jnana yoga, I like to put in those ways. Why? Because kami yoga, under the umbrella of our tradition, is pure knowledge yoga. It's knowledge in respect to the nature of Saguna Ishvara.
And your relationship with it.
And your relationship and the laws that you have to observe, not breaking them. So it involves a lot of knowledge. So if you are kami yogi, you are father, let's say, you know, in the game, because you have exercised your power of knowing, of discerning, discriminating dharma from adharma. You know, I discriminate dharma from adharma because later on I need a sharp, discerning mind to discriminate satya from mithya, consciousness from the intellect. So the kami yogi, the bhakti yogi cannot escape knowledge, because the bhakti yogi in this initial stage has to become a kami yogi. Kami yogi is someone, you know, engaging in jnana yoga. What kind of jnana yoga? It is Ishvara knowledge, Saguna Ishvara knowledge. So he can become a kami yoga, which is a sort of jnana knowledge. But in general, when we come to Vedanta, we call jnana only Atma jnana. You know, I don't want to create confusion. Every time you say Atma jnana is not self-knowledge. Sometimes it's just put there as jnana. But I like to make a point that that kami yoga involves a great deal of knowledge. You cannot love God, Saguna God, without understanding, knowing, getting this jnana, this knowledge regards. I sometimes put it's a mithya knowledge, Ishvara Jiva Jagat knowledge, kami yoga knowledge. That's why it's under the umbrella of Vedanta. Vedanta is all about understanding, knowledge, gaining knowledge. If it was just a sadhana of doing physical pujas and this and that to love God and have this feel good, you know, thing, and then it would not be in the umbrella of Vedanta. Vedanta is all about knowledge, understanding. Some people has another misunderstanding, and they say that, oh no, now that I stopped being devotee, and I stopped being a kami yogi, which is a sort of knowledge as well, yoga. Now I come to jnana yoga, and I think jnana yoga is just meditation. And then he says another misconception. Jnana yoga does not mean meditation. And then Swami here is saying meditation. What is meditation? You know, and he's talking about meditation as contemplation. Okay, here it's not meditation to create a space of emptiness or peace and love. Now, meditation, he's saying contemplation. He say, don't believe that Jnana yoga is just meditation or contemplation. If you contemplate merely with closed eyes, because you no longer want to be a devotee of Ishvara, you want to be a Jnana yogi, you're going to meditate on what? You need the scriptures. Meditating upon the nature of Saguna, Nirguna, howsoever, Ishvara, you know, in the light of the teachings. If you don't have the scriptures, your meditation is going to be only upon what you already know. And what you know so far did not resolve your mind.
No, quite. Yeah.
So coming to jnana does not mean meditating upon what you already know. If you do that, you're going to be reinforcing or reproducing the same knowledge. And more often than not, the knowledge you have is so mixed up with ignorance. That's why it did not resolve your mind. So you are never going to know the Atma by revisiting the concepts you have in regard to Atma that did not resolve your mind. Jnana yoga means contemplating upon the teachings of Vedanta in the light of the scriptural knowledge with the help of a teacher. Krishna will address it in the 14th chapter. So 7 chapters ahead. Very nice. Okay, I went over the time. Hope you don't mind.
That was great.
Anything else? Okay, we meet again this coming Friday, Shvara allowing. Next week, I can already mention this. Next week, I'm traveling. Mark is traveling as well. Mark has decided to come to São Paulo to participate in my 10-day seminar. Just joking.
Yeah.
He does not participate even here because he does not understand the word. And so we are both traveling on Thursday. So most probably we will have our class on Monday and Tuesday, no class on Friday, and then begins my seminar, and you guys are going to have a vacation from our satsangs. Yay, vacation! Just 1 week vacation, okay? Okie dokie. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Arlinda. Great sense.
Thank you, Arlinda.
Meet on Friday. Bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.